Sounds great, Eliot. And thank you guys for bringing UK music back to its rightful place, which is great, with live instruments, whether it's synth or drums and bass and guitar, but it's great. Eliot, tell me about picking up the bass for the first time. How old were you when you decided, obviously coming from a musical family and a background and seeing music in your life, when did you decide, I mean, that you said, man, I'm going to try and do this thing myself? Were there instruments in the house? Was it something that you said, I need to find a way to express myself? What was the thing, the catalyst?
Well, I was playing guitar in bands before that, and then I think when I had one of my
But how old were you then?
I've been playing guitar since I was about 5 or 6.
That's brilliant.
And
That's
then,
great.
Yeah,
Who was the first? I mean, listen. I know people like. I'm not going to be the whole. It's not. This is about you. It's not all about your dad. Although I love your dad, and I saw him in '78 when I was a kid, and we took pictures together when we were like 2 years apart. But I'd like to get more into what your experience. So tell me, what was the catalyst to pick up playing the instrument in the first place?
I think I just started playing with other musicians and got this buzz of creating something and being in a room with other musicians, and I got a buzz from that.
Yeah, and when I listen to your lyrics, it's a very, very honest place that you come from. Song structure is great, but it's also, there's something going on lyrically about relationships, about real life things, which I think are great. Mm-hmm. And for you, was it one of those things where you just had to play and that was a great way to release and work on those things personally?
Yeah, I think like most musicians, I consider myself to be very lucky that I have a creative and positive outlet, which is important.
Absolutely. So I have to ask you, besides obviously, and this again isn't about your dad, but who were you listening to as a young child? Because everybody listens to, first our gateway is probably pop radio, the things we listen to, top 40, and then all of a sudden some artist comes along or something makes us want to play. What were some of your earliest favorite musicians, people that you wanted to emulate, or you made you say, oh, I want to play, here's my way of expression? Who did you like?
I was a big Jimi Hendrix fan when I was about 10.
Yeah.
I got given a CD, and yeah, it was my only CD for many years. And
was it really? Like your only CD, right? So
yeah.
Did you like live with every track on that record? And
yeah, I dissected it, and
that's brilliant. Though. That's great. Yeah. So did you do it as the bass player or
no, as a guitar player?
And when did you decide to pick up the bass in a band?
Well, I was in a band, and there was another guitar player who was much more skilled than me, so I decided to play bass. As a common joke of a bad guitar player is a bass player. So I thought, oh, that's going to suit me just fine.
Which is brilliant, though. It's really cool. So what I wanted to ask you was, working with Leaky Lee and people like that, because I worked with Leaky Lee on some stuff over the years, and the way that she talked about writing and creating our own landscape with songs and taking our own path. Tell me a bit about that. Like for you, I mean, when you worked together, did you guys have that kind of conversation? Did you talk about,
Well, we haven't really collaborated before. We've been good friends for a few years now, and
but you toured, you did some shows, right?
Yeah. We went on tour together, and that tour was really important for us because we had all the songs, but we hadn't recorded them into a record yet. So getting all of those kind of nuances and kind of the magical things that happen in a live setting rather than in a studio, that tour was very important to us.
That's great, because she's really, like, the funny thing I found with her and I loved about her was just how poignant she was, and the things that she talked to about with me, and how she had a complete vision for what she was doing. Mm-hmm. Now, working on this record, I mean, there's so many great songs on this record. You worked with a friend of mine. We have a mutual friend from Leeds. I guess he's in London now. Mm-hmm. Mark Hodgson, who was in the Kaiser Chiefs.
Nick Hodgson.
Nick Hodgson. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning. I apologize. But Nick, I love very much. Nick is a great songwriter. How did you guys connect?
We connected through a mutual friend of ours. And they said that we should meet up, and so I went over to a studio, and yeah, we instantly clicked and went to the pub and started talking about music.
So when he left the Kaiser Chiefs, right, he got into writing and doing stuff with other people, so that was what the experience was like, right?
Yeah. And it'd been a long time since I'd written songs with somebody else. So it was a nice, it was great.
That's cool.
We wrote a few songs together.
Are you thinking about writing with him again at some point? Because now that he's no longer part of the Kaiser Chiefs doing his own thing, I mean, are you open to writing with other people at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it more enjoyable, and I actually get things done quicker.
Is that because it's cool, because someone says, all right, that part's good, this part is not, or...
Yeah, it's good to kind of seek approval from people that you have respect for. But that goes for all of us. That we'll play stuff to each other, and I think we all trust one another.
All right, so could you introduce the band to everybody else here and tell them how you got together with everybody?
Nick Benton on
Nick,
guitar.
everybody, let's hear it for him.
We met through Duncan Mills, who produced the album.
He's a great producer.
Yes.
A lot of really cool people.
Duncan said, "Oh, you've got to meet Nick. Maybe he can come and play guitar on some of the songs." And Nick lives in Cambridge, didn't have a place to stay, so I think we stayed up until 3 a.m.
So you didn't drive back that night, right?
And
That's
we became best friends overnight, I think.
That's really cool.
Me and Jan have been great friends since 8 years now.
Yeah, and Jan, you're from Germany originally, but now you live in England, right?
Yeah, I've moved there about 10 years ago.
Yeah, so tell me about that. I mean, what brought you to London?
To London? I was living in Germany in a small town and was working in a recording studio, and I had a band and that broke up, and then I found myself just recording music I didn't like, and I was always a big fan of English music, so I decided to take my bag and go over there just to try it out for a couple of weeks, and then I'm still there. I consider to be on holiday there for
Which is
10 years
fantastic.
now.
I'm glad you're here. And Eliot, introduce us to your drummer as well, please.
This is Mr. Adam Gamage,
Adam!
best drummer in the world. He's a very good driver as well.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Eliot, I have to tell you, though, the songwriting is a thing on this record that really impressed me, that I loved, And, obviously growing up in a famous family, and it's funny, my daughters, I have 2 daughters, and they do their own thing. One of them works in music and the arts and musical theater. The other one, does some acting. And the thing is, it's like they were like, "All right, Dad, it's cool, but I'm gonna make it my own way." And I thought that was beautiful about what they did. So the fact that you've taken that path and you're doing what you're doing. But I'm sure your dad and mom are completely supportive of everything you do, right?
Yeah, there's no other way to go about it, I think, for anyone. You've got to do your thing.
Do you go back as a kid growing up? Did you ever listen to some of those old records, or was it just watching them play that it kind of you caught the fire? It was in the DNA for you.
About who? Sorry.
There you go. About this guy named Gordon that I met in 1978.
Right,
Yeah. He used to have an army jumpsuit when I met him in 1978. We were hanging out in Philadelphia. But I mean, the thing is, having a parent and people support you, I think is super important. I'm just being very real. That's why I asked you that question. Mm-hmm. But I will say that the beauty of what you do on this record and the last EP that you put out the songs are so good, and I love what you do.
Thank you.
Which is why I'm a big fan, which is why I was so excited that you were coming here. So thank you so much. Will you do one more song for me tonight?
Absolutely. I think we have 2.
Yeah, do them.
We can
Go
just
ahead.
do 1 if you want.
I'd love you to do 2. I say 2. Because I asked you for 1, right? And then I love you to do 2. So there you go. Thanks so much, guys, for doing it. And
thanks for having us.
And by the way, well, we'll tell you right after. Eliot Sumner and her band, everyone. Let's make some noise for them.